So in this episode, I'm going to keep it relatively brief, but I'm going to show you something that's a really important way to get in touch with how to treat yourself. How do you behave towards yourself? And it's really uncomplicated, this. A really good way to help you decide the way you're best to treat yourself is to think how you would treat somebody who really matters to you. Now, that might be somebody that you love, or it might be your very bestest friend in all the world. It might be a relative who's deeply precious to you. Whoever it happens to be, you can think of them and think, well, how would I want that person to be treated? In fact, how would I treat that person? And then if there's a disparity between how you would treat them and how you would treat yourself, like if you would treat yourself, if you notice that you're treating yourself far worse than that answer, like how would I treat them and how would I want them to be treated, then it's a little kind of noticing that you can actually change that to ensure that you treat yourself just as good as you would treat your very best friend. And it's the same as well in terms of when you're needing some advice. You know, you might be in a situation, you're thinking, is this okay? Is this okay for me to be in this situation? Is this the kind of thing that I should be putting up with? Should I let this go? Should I carry on being treated this way? Then you can ask yourself the same question. What would it be like if this wasn't me with this conundrum, but it was this really precious person to me who was coming to me and telling me that it was happening to them? What would we say to them if it was their story, if it was their conundrum? How would we advise them? Because when we know that, how we would advise or behave towards somebody that's very, very precious to us, then it's a good clue as well as to how we should really be treating ourselves. Because if we're not treating ourselves the way we would treat someone who's genuinely precious to us, it suggests that we're not acting towards ourselves in a way that implies that we're precious to us. And I suppose that's a starting point, isn't it? To treat ourselves as if we are precious to us. Because really taking care of us is one of our primary jobs, isn't it? And so, if we're not treating ourselves as if we're precious, then that's really something that we could do with addressing. And so this simple little reframe, this simple question of how would I be behaving to somebody who's precious to me? How would I be treating someone who is precious to me? What would I be advising in this exact same situation if it was somebody who's precious to me, who's coming to me for advice? It gives you a way in to really fully understanding how you'd be behaving to yourself if you were precious to you. What you would tolerate and draw a boundary line on if you were precious to you. So I just want to leave that idea with you, because hopefully if you notice that you're treating yourself in a way that is less than precious, you can use this question in order to upgrade the way that you treat yourself. And there's lots of ways that we are kind of nastier to ourselves than we would be to a precious friend. And that might be with self-insults, that might be with self-denial, that might be with saying, well, that's not good enough for you. That's not for you. You know, you're not good enough for that. It can be in a whole host of ways. It could be in a situation that we continue putting up with. But whatever it is, if you notice that your answer for yourself or your behaviour for yourself is less than it would be for this precious person in your life, then it gives you a clue that it's time to upgrade how you treat yourself, simply so that you match the way you would treat someone precious. And so it's a good question, isn't it? How would I treat someone who is precious to me? How would I advise someone who is precious to me? And simply by asking that question, we know how to look after ourselves as well, as if we're precious too. And of course, we all are. So if you like that idea, spread it round. You can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get them. You can go to sliceoftherapy.com to hear them there and to watch them as videos. And if you want to work with me directly, I'm Alun Parry. I'm at the Liverpool Psychotherapy practice, and you can find me at liverpoolpsychotherapy.co.uk. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow.